Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. And today we will be covering one of the most interesting topics in Unit 1, that is managerial economics. First, let us understand what is managerial economics. It is a part of economics that helps managers answer questions like how many units should be produced to maximize our profits, what price should we set for our products to stay competitive, or should we invest in a new factory or upgrade our current ones. So, using managerial economics, the managers make such decisions in an organization. So, what is the definition of managerial economics? It is the application of economic tools and concepts to solve business problems. Application of economic tools and concepts to solve business problems. So, what are the key features to remember here? The very first one is that it is microeconomics focused. So, like we said, managerial economics focuses on resolving an individual firm's issues. So it is more of microeconomic focused. It mostly uses microeconomic tools like demand, supply, and cost analysis because the focus is on the individual firm. The second feature is decision making. The ultimate goal of managerial or business economics is to help managers make optimal decisions, the best decisions under constraints, that is, with limited resources like time, money, labor, etc. The next feature is that it is pragmatic and normative. So here the point is that it doesn't just describe what things are, it suggests what a firm should do to achieve its goals. So the focus is on decision making for individual firms. And here we are talking about actual steps that needs to be taken to achieve your company's organization's goals. Now, we said that it is pragmatic, that is, it is all about the practical application, practical application, and not just about theories. And then it is about goal oriented, it is goal oriented, pragmatic. It normative means what? It gives you should statements like we should produce 500 units to be efficient. So it will give you actual or no actual steps that needs to be taken, the quantitative steps that needs to be taken to improve or maximize your output or to get achieve your goals. So these are the major features of managerial economics. The first one is it is microeconomic focused. It gives decision making suggestions because it is goal oriented. It is practical application of economics and it is normative. It gives you sentences like how much product should we produce, what should we do. So it answers the should question. Now, what is the scope? Like what it handles? Where is it mostly applicable? So the scope is the first scope is demand analysis and forecasting. Demand analysis and forecasting. That is predicting what the customers want. Like we said here that it is normative, how much product should we produce. So through demand analysis, we can understand what the customers are looking for and accordingly we can adjust and optimize our production. The next one is cost and product analysis, production analysis. Here it is about figuring out the cheapest way to make things. So first we identified how many things we have to make. Now we will identify what is the cheapest way to make those things. Next is the pricing decisions. Pricing decisions. That is finding the sweet spot of the price. Now you have produced your goods. Now we have to fix the price at which you will be selling this at the market. So you have to find a price that is competitive, yet that will give you enough profit. The next one is capital management. That is deciding where to invest the big money. So you have made your profit, now where you will invest those money, right? So the big investments that you will make, that is the capital in management. Next is your profit management. Then you have analysis of the business environment. So you have to understand what your competitors are doing, what is happening in your industry. Accordingly, you have to make changes in your production or in your goals and your processes, right? So these are the major scopes of managerial economics: demand analysis and forecasting, cost and production analysis, pricing decisions, capital and profit management, analysis of the business environment. And we also talked about the key features, that is, it is microeconomic focus, that is, the focus is majorly on individual organizations. It helps in managers making decisions. It is more pragmatic or practical applications focused. It gives you normative decisions, and then it is also goal oriented. Then let's understand the concept of demand. What is demand? In economics, demand is not just wanting something. Demand is three things coming together at the same time. What are these things? The desire, the ability to pay, and the willingness to pay at a specific time. So here what we have to understand is, not simply desiring something will not create demand. You want to buy a Mercedes car, but you do not have the money to buy that car. Then it is not a desire. It is just a desire. It is not a demand. So for it to become a demand, you should have the desire to purchase something. Then you should have the ability to pay. You should have the money with you to purchase that thing. And you should also have the willingness to invest that money to purchase something. So just because you have the money and the desire doesn't mean you will buy that, right? Suppose you are someone who makes good salary and you want to buy a MacBook, but you're like, no, your current Lenovo laptop is running fine. Why I will invest my money in laptop? But at the same time, you have the desire in your mind, you want that MacBook. You have the money also, but you're thinking, let the my current laptop run as much as it will go. So again, here demand is not created. So demand happens only when you have the desire, the ability to purchase, and your willingness to pay. So when all these things come together at the same time, that is called a demand. Now let us understand what are the different types of demand. Types of demand. The very first one is individual demand versus market demand. Market demand. Individual demand is what you want as an individual, as a person, what you want is the individual demand. And what everyone, there are hundreds of millions of individuals, people in the market, right? So when everyone's demands are considered together, that is known as the market demand. What you individually specifically want is the individual demand. And when every people demand is considered together, that becomes the market demand. Next one is autonomous versus derived demand. Autonomous is when you want the product itself, like a car. Like derived is when the demand for one product creates the demand for the another one. So you autonomous is you want the car. Now once you purchase the car, you will have demand for what? You will have the demand for petrol or your diesel. So the demand for the fuel is a derived demand, and autonomous is the demand for the individual product in itself. The next one is durable and non-durable demand. Durable versus non-durable demand. So durable you can consider like things that are in the things that will last, like the fridge. So you purchase a fridge or refrigerator, it will last for 5 years, 10 years according to how you use, what is your capacity. So according to that, your even a car, it will last for 15 years, 20 years, right? So those are the duration up to which you can use. So those like long duration things that are durable goods that will last for a long duration. Non-durable goods are things that will get damaged very easily, like vegetables, bread, food items mostly. So those are non-durable things. Then the next one is organizational versus industry demand. So organizational demand is when the demand for a particular organization what is the demand for a particular organization's product at a given time, and industry demand is the demand for the similar products in the whole industry. So from different company. For example, Uh, suppose when you take to mobile services, so the demand for Geo or demand for Airtel alone will be the organizational demand. Now we will consider BSNL, that is also organizational demand, and you will consider Vodafone. Right. So all these are individually when you consider, when you take the demand for Geo connection, that is organizational demand. But when the demand for all of these is considered together, that becomes the industry demand. Next one is short run and long run demand. Short run and long run demand. So short run refers to a period of time in which at least one factor of production is fixed, while long run is a period of time in which all factors of production can be adjusted. Uh, so these are the different types of demand. The first one is the individual demand and market demand, then autonomous versus derived demand, durable and non-durable, organizational versus industrial demand, short run and long run demand. Now let us understand different ways of expressing the demand. Expression of demand. The first one is the demand function. The demand function is a mathematical way to show how the quantity demanded depends on various factors, that is determinants. And it will look like, suppose dx equal to a function of, suppose price, income, then change time, your taste, your preferences. So a lot of things, determinants will be there. So the demand function is the mathematical way to show the quantity demanded for a particular product, and it depends on various factors that are the determinants. Now, what are these determinants? So, what it means for a business is, like suppose the price of the product, price of the good. That means that is the biggest factor. Like, suppose you want to buy a mobile phone, what is the price of that phone? Or you want to buy a laptop, what is the price of that product? So, that is one of the biggest determinants of demand. Similarly, the income of the individual, right? So, price, income, your tastes and preferences, these are all, and geographical location you are in. So, there are different determinants or factors that affect the demand. So, when you consider all of them together and consider it as a mathematical function, that is called a demand function. Now, based on your income, your goods can be, the goods can be like normal goods, that is The more income you get, the income when the income rises, you want to purchase more of that income. That is normal goods. Then you have necessity goods that you buy the same amount regardless of the income. Like suppose the toothpaste. You will not buy more of toothpaste because your income increased, right? How much ever you require, that much only you will purchase. And inferior goods. Inferior goods are goods that we will produce less when your income will increase more. So, suppose instant noodles, when you were, a college student and you wanted to make a noodles, something chatpata in your hostel, you will purchase what you will purchase noodles, instant noodles as you will purchase. But when you see, when you get once you get a job and your income will start, you might go for a, you know, um, very aesthetic ramen noodles like that. So you will not buy that 20 rupee or 10 rupee packet wala noodles anymore, right? Because once your income will go up. So when the demand for a product will reduce, when the income of the consumer increases, that is inferior goods. Then you have price of related goods, that is substitute goods, and you will have the complementary goods. Substitute goods are like if the Pepsi and Coke. If price of Pepsi will go up, demand for Coke will go up. And complementary goods are like bread and jam. So if price for bread will increase, the demand for jam might reduce. Just like ink and the like printer and ink. If the price of printer will go up, there is no reason like the purchase, definitely the price for demand for printer will reduce. So automatically the demand for ink will also reduce, even though ink price is remaining same. So that is in complementary goods. Then taste and preferences. According to your taste and preferences, things will change. Everyone will not want the same kind of dress or bottles or books, whatever you want to purchase. It will depend on your individual preferences. Then the wealth that you have accumulated over the years, then the population of the country you live in, government policies, weather. Suppose it is winter, means woolen clothes and sweaters demand will increase. So depending on climate, weather, demand will change. Then distribution of income. If wealth is concentrated among a few, then demand for luxury goods will rise. And if it is distributed more evenly, then mass market or fast products demand will increase. So these are the different determinants of demand that will change or affect the overall demand, the factors of demand. Now, so that is the demand function. The next way to express a demand is your demand schedule. This is a simple table that shows the relationship between price and quantity demanded. This is the data behind graph. When we draw a demand graph, the demand schedule will have the data. Based on this, we will be drawing the graph. So this is like price and quantity demanded. 10, 20, 30. At 10 rupees, quantity demanded is 100. 20, it is 80, and 70. So accordingly, we will draw our demand graph or the demand curve. And the third expression of demand is demand curve. And demand curve is the graphical representation of the demand schedule. Graphical representation of demand schedule. And here on the y-axis or the vertical axis, you have the price. And on the horizontal axis, you have the quantity demanded. And the slope is almost always downward, downward from left to right. It is a negative slope. And why this is happening? We will learn about that in the law of demand. The slope is always going from left to right. So in Expressions of demand, we first learned the demand function, then we learned demand schedule, that is a tabular form of data that shows the relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. And then we have the demand curve, which is the graphical representation of the demand schedule. And here on the y-axis we have price, and x-axis we have the quantity, and the slope is almost always sloping from, like, going from downward from left to right, because of the inverse relationship. There is always an inverse relationship, that is, as the price go up, the quantity, as the price is going up, the quantity is going down. So that is the inverse relationship. Price and quantity have an inverse relationship, because of which the slope is always going downward from left to right. Now let us understand the law of demand. This is one of the golden rules of economics. It states that ceteris paribus, that is, keeping all the other components a constant or equal, that means like components like your income, your tastes and preferences, all the other determinants. So keeping all those things determinant and only considering the price of the product. So when the price will increase, quantity demanded will decrease, and vice versa. As the price will decrease, quantity demanded will increase. So there is a inverse or opposite relationship between quantity and price of the quantity and the price the consumers are willing to pay and are able to buy. So it is like a seesaw. So when one goes up, the other will go down. If price will go up, quantity will go down. If price will go down, quantity will go up. And because of this, the demand curve is like this. Here is your price, here is your quantity. So when the price is going up, the quantity is reducing. As the price goes down, the quantity will increase. Quantity demanded will increase, and it leads to a downward slope. Now, who gave the law of demand? The law of demand was formulated and popularized by a British economist called Alfred Marshall, and he talked about this in his book called Principles of Economics. Principles of Economics in 1890. Now, we said ceteris paribus, that is, all things considered equal or constant. That includes habits of the consumer, no change in taste of preferences, there is no change in price of the related products, no change in customs or the change or availability of the product. So, considering all the other determinants as constant, if the price of the product in itself will change, how the demand will respond to it. That is the law of demand. Now, we said that the slope is going downward. So, why does the demand curve always slope downward? Now, when the price of a good will fall or reduce, people will buy more of it. There are four main economic reasons for this downward slope. So, why does the demand curve slope downward? So, we mainly have four reasons for this. The first one is the income effect. So what is income effect? When the price of something you regularly buy, for example, a pizza. So when that drops, you suddenly have more real income. So suppose your income is 5,000 rupees, and the pizza you bought for 500 rupee become 300. So now your income increased by real income, that is the amount you have in your hand increased by 200 rupees. or your purchasing power has increased now. So what will happen? You will buy more of that product and the same amount of money you had before. Right. So with 500 rupee, you will get, now the price have reduced to 250. Suppose for one pizza it was 500. Now it is 250. So now you can buy two pizzas for the same price you had spent before. So that is the income effect. The next one is the substitution effect. Substitution effect. Here, if the price of coffee will drop, then and the price of tea will stay same, then coffee will become relatively cheaper and consumers will substitute tea with more of cheaper coffee. So that is when price of one competitive product or a comparable product just like Pepsi and Coke. If suppose price of Pepsi will reduce and price of Coke will remains the same, then consumers will consume more, purchase more of Pepsi than Coke. So that is the substitution effect. The third one is law of diminishing marginal unit utility. Law of diminishing marginal utility. What does this law say? It states that as you consume more of a product, the satisfaction or the utility that you get from each additional unit, that is, the more you consume something with every extra one product that you consume, additional one unit that you consume, the utility or the satisfaction you receive while consuming will reduce. So, up to a limit, it will go up until you're satisfied with that. After that, every unit that you consume, your utility or the satisfaction you find with that consumption will reduce. So you will be willing to buy maybe for the fourth or fifth slice of pizza. After that, your tummy is full. You don't want to buy anymore. You don't feel hungry anymore. So what happens? The happiness or the satisfaction you received while purchasing the pizza, the first slice of pizza has gone now. So with each additional unit that you purchase, the utility or the satisfaction you received from the consumption have now reduced, and because of this, again it contributes to the downward slope of the mm, demand curve. Then the last one, or the fourth reason is new consumers. So what happens here is when the price will fall, people who previously could not afford these products are now able to purchase them or able to their purchasing power will increase. So now they will also enter the market and they will start buying these products again. So that is the four reason why you always have a demand curve sloping downwards. Next, believe it or not, sometimes people will buy more of a product when the price will go up. And these are the exceptions of law of demand. Exceptions to the law of demand. To the law of demand. So in law of demand, what we said, when the price will go up, quantity demanded will go down. But in exceptions, when the price will go up, quantity demanded will also go up. So what are the situations where this will happen? The first one is in case of giffen goods. Giffen goods. So giffen goods is, it's a very rare concept in economics and it is named after Sir Robert Giffen. Okay. And here what happens is these are like highly inferior goods that people rely for their survival. So the logic behind this is, suppose consider a family that spends most of their budget on purchasing cheap bread, and suddenly the price, and they will purchase bread and meat. Suddenly the price of bread increased. Now what happens? The amount they require for purchasing meat have reduced. So you have a family that purchases both bread and meat, and the price of bread have increased. Now the money they required for purchasing meat is reduced. So what they will do? They will purchase more of bread. So the quantity demanded for bread will increase now. That is the case with inferior goods. So that is the reason in giffen goods or inferior goods. So if the price of the bed will increase, they can no longer afford the meat at all. So thus to survive, what they will do is they will buy even more of the bread to replace the meat that they are not able to purchase. Then the next one is Veblen goods. Veblen goods or the conspicuous consumption. So these are the luxury items which are high price and it is part of an appeal that you make with your peers. So think of like designer bags, luxury watches, or very rare sports cars. So here the logic is that if the price drops too low, the snob effect or the snob appeal you are attaching with that product will reduce. So as long as the price goes up, the demand for these products will go up. Just consider like a Gucci bag or a Prada. So if they become very affordable, then the snob appeal that people, the ultra rich people find with these products will be reduced. So no longer the demand for such products will reduce. So the higher the price, higher the demand for these goods. Those are the Veblen or conspicuous consumption. Next one is expectation of future price change. So if the price of gold will start rising, people will think that it will keep rising and they will go and purchase more of it. Right. So they will buy more of the product now thinking that in future the price will again increase. So that is so here again what is happening when the price went up, quantity demanded also went up because you're expecting that in future again the price will go up. Then another situation is emergencies. Emergencies. So here, like during a natural disaster, so suppose the price of a bottled water will go high, like skyrocket, like anything. But people will buy more because it becomes a necessity. It is required for them to survive. Just like during Corona, the price for masks went up, sanitizers price, all these things went up because the demand was more and people are ready to spend also more money in those products to purchase those products that because that become a necessity for them. So these are the four reasons four reasons for exceptions to the law of demand. And the other things are like when it comes to another exception is necessary goods. Necessary goods like fuel, LPG, petrol. So even if petrol price will increase, we have to purchase petrol, right? We have to go from point one to point two. So we have to purchase petrol or LPG. We have to cook our food. So these things, no matter what the price increase, we will have to purchase. Then obsolete goods, very old cars, old cameras, so they have a nostalgia or a memory attached to it. So it is a more emotional purchase for the people. So those things also will have a higher price and people will be ready to purchase those things. Then goods with limited quantity. When the quantity will reduce, obviously the price will go up, like flight tickets and all. Then the next one is demonstration effect. To imitate the consumption pattern of high income groups. Next, we will learn about movement and shift in demand.